Hello, Aetheria contributors and deed holders and ALOR holders now. This is Carl Fravel, and I just wanted to give some very basics on how to work with your ALORs and how to get started building on the land that you have access to now. I thought I would organize this around the ALOR tokens user's guide. I'm not going to go through every step of it, but I'll use it sort of as an outline for showing how to do certain things. I will put the link to this user guide in the description below. ALOR token is Aetheria land operator rights. It gives you full control over deploying to the land, and you can sell the token. The main advantage of an ALOR over a regular land token is that if somebody loses their wallet or just abandons the land, the Aetheria district can still make use of that land, at least temporarily, in case the person comes back. But it's a way of avoiding the whole problem of blighted or abandoned land that we have in Decentraland as a whole. It does add some centralization, but consistent with the original plan for the Aetheria district. The ALOR contract address is here, and you can do operations in both OpenSea and in Etherscan using that contract address. It is a proxy contract. The implementation contract, which can be updated, works behind this, but you do the operations on the proxy contract. We did airdrop on May 18th of 2025, 10,005 ALORs for every parcel in Aetheria. If you had a deed from before, a deed token, then it went to the deed holder. Otherwise, it went to the contributors. We preserved the existing privately allocated land, deeded or not, and added the new ALORs around those plots that people already had, just to enlarge them and to try to make them as rectangular as possible. The question then is, how do you deploy scenes to Aetheria? That is what can be done now more easily, because every parcel in Aetheria can be deployed to by its ALOR holder. So we can actually proceed to get the community to build out all of Aetheria. There's a utility app that we've created. I'm going to open it up here. And several ways to do it, but one way to do it is if you know the coordinates of your land, you can get the token IDs that you would need to operate in Etherscan contract management. But you can also, let's see, which wallet do I have here? The wallet that I use for ALORs that I have is this one. I'm going to expand the wallet and move it out of the way for now. I am attached in MetaMask. I am attached to a wallet that has some ALOR. So if I click on this, it asks me to connect my wallet to this app, and then it proceeds to show the ALORs that I have. It shows them in two parts. The first part is just the ALOR token IDs. This is the format that you would need if you want to interact with the ALOR contract in doing many at the same time. You would need to use some of these. But if you want to know where the lands are, part 2 shows the same token IDs again, but it also shows the coordinates where they exist. I have a number of different places in Aetheria where I contributed or acquired land. So that's how that app works. And then in Etherscan, you can also see your ALORs. If I put that wallet address in here, and I go to assets for that wallet, and I go to NFTs, I see quite a lot of different things. 38 pages. I'm going to go to the last page and walk back a little bit, because I think the ALORs are going to be easiest to find that way, because they're fairly new. Yeah, I don't know why there was some blank at the end. So the last 3 had nothing on it. But so here are some examples. Go back one more page and it'll be a whole page of them. If I click on any one of those, what I'll see is the token ID, which is the same kind of number that we were seeing in that list from the other app. And you can copy it here. So if you want to deal with a particular one, This particular view kind of confirms that you have them, but it's not very useful in itself for knowing like where it is, because the attributes that are unique to ALOR tokens that indicate their coordinates are not, that metadata doesn't show in Etherscan. On the other hand, if I take one of those token IDs, just copied one of them, and I go to OpenSea, there's a collection of Aetheria Land operator rights tokens. It shows them. We are still working on trying to get it so that it will show your ALORs when you're logged in as you, looking at your content. But for example, if I go right now, owned by you, I think it will find none, which is just not true. So we're working with them. They haven't been very responsive. We don't know quite what our next steps are going to have to be. But if I just click on one of these and then I change the last part of this, I need to find the slash. It's right there. See it right there? If I just replace what's after the slash with what's in my clipboard from my own token, it will show that token here, and it'll show its coordinates. And that should correspond to, let's see, 116.108. That list that I generated here, find 116,108, that one. The token 29004, that is the token number that I got, and the token 29004, etc. So this, I would be able to list this for sale, or I would be able to send it to a different wallet. Notice that if you transfer an ALOR to a different wallet, that wallet is initially made to be the land update operator of that parcel, which means one way to get a wallet to be the operator is to transfer an ALOR to it. It's not the only way. You don't have to move an ALOR to make that happen, but if somebody buys the ALOR from you and it therefore ends up in their wallet, they will by default be the operator. All right, so those are three of the ways you can see it. You can also see them in MetaMask sometimes. Now, I don't know exactly why it does or doesn't work different times, but if I bring my wallet back over here and I look in that for NFTs, you can see that my ALORs are showing here. They're in MetaMask, they're called Aetheria Plot with the coordinates, and then also Ethereum Land Operator Rights, ALOR. I honestly don't know why mine showed up in my wallet, but most people's aren't showing up yet. I mean, if you have a few of them, you can go, add them to, go down the bottom here and go import an NFT, import the contract, the proxy contract address and the token ID, and you will see that one. But if you have a bunch of them, that's going to be a pain. So we're still working on that too. Not quite sure what the obstacle is there, but they do exist, and that is a fourth possible way to see them. I think that the best way to kind of see what's going on is with the utility app that we are providing. There are a number of rights or roles associated with ALORs. The ALOR owner is one of the roles. Update operator is a setting in the NFT for that ALOR. The update operator is the one who can deploy to that parcel. Update manager is a more senior role that can assign update operators, but can't transfer them. Only the owner can do a transfer or a sale. But the update manager can do the other things that an owner could do, such as assigning update operators. Exclusive update manager is a role that we've built into the ALOR contract that will support future rental DApp. Basically, you can assign a update manager to another wallet for a specified period of time, and during that time, because they've paid for a rental, only that wallet can do things like setting the update operator. And when the rent expires and doesn't get renewed, then that role goes away, it expires. Something to note, the exclusive update manager is set per parcel. So that is different than the update manager in the land estate contracts, which is set for every land owned by the account. Instead, this is set per parcel. Now let's say that you want to find out what the update operator is for a parcel for which you have the ALOR token ID. There's two ways to do that. One is with Etherscan, and the other is using the Decentraland command line interface, which is more technical, mostly for developers, but for a developer it might be an easier way to do it. But using Etherscan, which any of us can do, you first obtain the parcel that you want to check, and you need to do that, like, for example, going back to the picking, let's say 7491, which is a parcel and go to the proxy contract, which is also linked from here. In fact, if you go use that link, it takes you straight to the contract read as proxy for the ALOR contract. And you don't need to connect to your MetaMask wallet to do a read. And you go to the update operator method, it's number 13. You put in that token ID without quotes, and you hit query, and you'll see that there is this address as an operator ID. Now, if there's not an operator ID assigned, it'll be the 0 address. Now I will show you the way to get the update operator address using the Decentraland command line tools. This is a tool set that developers of scenes using the SDK probably already have installed. As I say in the instructions, you need to have Node installed from this site, and you open up a terminal window and you run this npm command to install the Decentraland command line tool, and then you're going to be running this DCL info command. I'll show you that. And what parcel did I say I was going to get information about? It was going to be 7491. So you go DCL info 7491, and after it does a little bit of data fetching, it comes back with a list of information that ends with all the parcel coordinates that are in the estate for Aetheria. The DCL info command only works for parcel coordinates that are parcels that are in estates. Aetheria is an estate. All of the land in Aetheria is in the Aetheria estate, so it works. And in addition to showing the owner, which is the district multisig wallet that holds the estate and the land, there is an update operator, just like we saw with the Etherscan. It's the same one. No surprise. So that's the second way you can obtain the update operator address. If there isn't one, this whole line is just absent. I'm going to skip this section for a moment. I'll do that at the end. If you want to assign a role to an ALOR, typically assign the update operator, you would use typically Etherscan. In fact, that right now is the main way you would do it. And I've given two examples here, one for using the ALOR contract to set one parcel's update operator through the ALOR contract, and then another example for how, if you have many of them to do, you can do them all in one batch, or you can do them in batches. Batches of up to 50 is safe. I'm going to walk you through doing this method. And here I'm on the ALOR proxy contract, but I'm on write as proxy. Contract write as proxy. And to do this work, you do have to connect your wallet. So I'm going to set an update operator on a single parcel that is in my wallet, and which I probably already have the update operator set, as we saw earlier, but I'm going to show you how to do it. You do have to connect the Web3, which would be your MetaMask wallet. And you need to make sure that the MetaMask wallet is set up for the wallet that owns the ALOR, because this is the one that has the right to set the update operator. I'm also going to set the update operator to be the same wallet as the ALOR holder because it's not already set that way perhaps. So I copy that and I go down to method 20, set update operator, and I put in the address that I want it to be for the new operator, and I have to put the token ID in. So I go back to the utility tool for 7491 and I get this address. I don't need the quotes in this case. And I go here and put that in as the token ID and do a write. And the MetaMask will come up to confirm that transaction. And right now it's running about 72 cents a parcel to set the update operator. I'll show you where to look at gas fees. They can be higher or lower than this. I've seen it down around 20 cents. I've seen it up around $1.50. So you want to pick the right day and the right time if you want to be frugal. So right now it's kind of moderate, and so that will confirm. It takes 20-30 seconds, something like that, to do the transaction. So we'll wait for that. And the hexadecimal representation of the token ID is different than the decimal one that you typically input or get from our utilities. So that worked, and although it said it was going to be 72 cents, it was actually only 55 cents. It often is less than what it estimates. Okay, going back to the user guide, I'm going to step through the example of doing multiple parcels of setting the operator using the set many operator function. I'm going to set it up, but I'm not going to run it right now because the gas prices are a little higher than I want to pay right now, but I'll show you how to set it up and run it. So once again, this link is handy. It takes you to the right place in the Etherscan contract for ALOR. That's the ALOR proxy right there. And contract write as proxy. You will need to connect to Web3 because you're trying to write to the contract. And I want to make sure I'm in the correct wallet. This is the wallet that owns the ALORs. It's also the wallet that I want to set to be the update operator. So I'll copy that address and I go down to method 18, set many update operator, and I put in the operator address I want to assign to all those ALORs, and then I want to put in the token IDs here of the ALORs that I want to write to. And I do that by going back to the Aetheria utility tool, and let's say I wanted to do exactly those. They're nicely highlighted. So I would highlight them and I hit Control C. And notice there's a comma at the end of every one. We're going to be needing to remove the last comma there. So I'll go back here and do that. So the token IDs I'll put in like that. I'm checking to see that there's commas between them and each one of them is quoted. And I go to the end and I take off the last comma. Probably, I don't know if you need to do that, but I always do. And then you do a write, and it's going to ask you if you want to do that now. Here would be the price to do them, $20 of network fees. I think that at times it could be half that or less, and you would hit confirm. Now I'm not going to do that right now, but it would run for a while, and then it would not complain like that, and it would complete. That's that. There's one more thing I want to talk about is how do you build a scene in Aetheria, and how do you know where you can deploy the scene to? Here I'm going to give a very brief overview of how you can build and deploy a scene in Aetheria. There are two methods that you can use. You can use the Creator Hub tool, which is an installed application from Decentraland, or you can use the Decentraland SDK, which is if you're into coding your scenes manually. These are both documented at the Creator documentation site. So if you go to docs.decentraland.org/creator, or if you just go to Decentraland and click on Learn and then pick Creators, then they'll tell you about using the Creator Hub, or they can also tell you about using the SDK. The documentation is very good. I refer to it often because some of this is fairly complex. So I'm going to show you not the SDK approach, but I will briefly show you using the Creator Hub And I'm going to do it as though I was going to deploy something to land that I have control of. So we'll start by showing you where to get the creator hub. So if you go to decentraland.org and you do create, but don't click, just hover there and over and click on scenes. This download and the one you saw on the first page are for downloading the client for going into the world. This download is for the creator hub. And if you click here, you'll download an installer. If you do that installer, it will take, during one phase of the installation, probably at least 5 minutes, because it's downloading a lot of content that you can use in your scenes, components like this. So that's how you get the creator hub. I've already installed it and I have it here. It's a little different icon than the Decentraland icon. It has like a hammer in it or something. And it first checks to see if you have the most recent version. That is the screen that you'll see for many minutes when you're installing for the first time, or probably when you're doing an update. It'll take a moment to load any scenes that you've made. It'll also load a test scene. You can start a new scene here, but this Aetheria demo is a scene that I put a couple of components into some time ago and deployed. I'm going to pick one more thing to put into the scene. This is that glassy ground cover that's characteristic of Aetheria. And I'm going to pick one more. I'll just pick the blue table or stand or whatever it is and put that there. So now there's 3 objects in the scene, and let's say I'm happy with it, but I want to preview it and make sure that it's what I expect it or want it to look like. What it's doing is it's launching the desktop client, but it's launching it against the local copy of the scene, not against a deployed scene. This debug panel appears when you're in this mode. It does not appear when you're looking at production. I can actually close that. Yes, I see my third table here, so I'm happy with that. I'll go ahead and just close the preview like I was closing the client. Takes a moment. Back here. So now I can publish to land, not to world. That's a whole different thing. This is how you would publish into Ethereum, is to publish to land. And notice that because the scene was previously deployed to 7391, it kind of remembers that. I think that's why, or because it's the lowest numbered parcel that I manage in Aetheria. Notice that if I click north of that, I get another orange spot, but if I click south of that, I don't. 7391 is the southwest corner of a larger plot of land I have. So I'm going to do a publish here, and it will be happy if the wallet that I logged into the builder with was the one that I have. Yep, that's the one that has the deployment rights, the update operator on the land. So hit publish, and it says, warning, it's going to take 15 minutes or more for this to appear in world. That is an effect of the improvements that they've made for performance. In order to do that, they do a bunch of post-processing after you upload the stuff to make the models perform better close up and at a distance. So you continue, and it starts uploading. The SDK actually uploads quite a bit faster. This scene would be uploaded in maybe 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Once it finishes that uploading stage, it then starts working on converting and optimizing the upload. And you won't see the changes in the scene, or the first time you deploy a scene, you won't see the scene at all until all of that is finished. But it will tell you when it's finished. Usually this uploading goes faster. So I'm going to bail out of this for now. And as you were able to see, you were able to pick where you wanted to publish it and see red if that was correct. And by the way, I haven't killed the upload process. It's still running up here, and it has now finished the uploading and is proceeding to doing the converting and optimizing process. Partway through this, it will put up a indicator that you can go visit the scene now. However, my experience is you don't see anything or see the changes until this stage also finishes. And when I did this particular scene earlier, it took about 45 minutes, 40 minutes, something like that, for this to get. So despite that it says 15, even a very simple scene can take quite a bit longer than that. So go have a meal or something and come back. And if you want to see your changes while you're working, you do that with preview. That will show you what it's going to look like in an isolated scene by itself. That's it. That's the basics of how you build a scene. I will put the link to this user guide in the description below. Well, that's the completion of what I wanted to show you today, and I hope this was helpful. Feel free to contact me in Discord if you have questions or just want to chat. Thanks.